Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
Hello, welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast. I'm your host, Brian Duprey. Flying solo here this week. Carol got tied up with a different project, so she couldn't be with us here today. But I did want to talk about some things that might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people. And it is about the struggle. The struggle is real. We surveyed some childcare owners here a couple weeks ago and found out that about 40% of you are making less profits this year than you did last year, that you're struggling. And you haven't struggled since COVID, and you're struggling again. And we have a lot of people getting depressed over the fact that they have a lot less children, they're making a lot less profit than they did, and they're frustrated. And I get it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. There's some economic reasons behind some of this, and there's some other reasons. We're going to talk about that. Maybe give you some ideas on how to build back enrollment. But I did want to tackle that. So, there's a lot of factors that have caused the crisis kind of that we're in, and the struggle that childcare owners are facing right now. If you go back into my podcast last year and the year before, I predicted a lot of this would happen in 2025 and 2026. And just knowing it was coming doesn't make it any easier for the people that are in there. I was warning you a year ago that we'd be getting to this point where, there'd be childcare owners struggling because grant money was turned off. And there's still too many childcare centers in a lot of markets. And the fact that there's so many different childcare centers, there's a lot of spots open, there's a lot of empty spots filled. So it kind of created the perfect storm. So hopefully, if you listened to me a year ago, you took my advice, you conserved cash as I told you to, and you're in a much better financial position than maybe some of your competitors are. But why is this happening? First of all, the birth rate has plummeted the last couple of years. In the last 4 years, inflation has spiraled out of control since COVID. Obviously, all that COVID spending, there's consequences for handing out free money, trillions of dollars were printed, and it caused inflation to be double digits, which means everything costs so darn much now. That being said, people were holding off having children because they just couldn't afford to have them. So if you look at the birth rates since 2021, they have fell off significantly, which means kids that would have been born in 2021 weren't born, which means now in 2025, they would be 4-year-olds today. So that birth decrease created a preschool shortage in this year. Well, they stopped having babies in 2022 and hold off 2023. So this has been a 4-year problem now. So you're seeing it in all different ranges of ages of children, down from 4-year-olds all the way down to babies, that people are just having a lot less of them because of the birth rate has dropped. People are living with their parents till they're 35 now because they can't afford to buy a house, because home prices in the last 4 years have skyrocketed as well. So they're holding off getting married, they're holding off having children, they're holding off buying a home. All this has affected the childcare industry. Government interference. We started handing out money to childcare centers like candy between 2020 and 2024. All that government grant money that we were all so happy to take all those many years. Well, the consequence now is when that's turned off, there were too many childcare centers to begin with. Because when they started handing out all these expansion grants and all this extra money, it made people want to open more childcare centers, right? So all these centers now, all this inventory of childcare spots, and now there's less kids to fill all those spots for all these centers. And everybody's so excited to open these centers because they were paid based on spots in a lot of states. You know, if you had a center with 100 kids, you were getting grant money based on 100 kids, even if you only had 20 enrolled. So they wanted to get licenses open as fast as they can to collect all this government money. Well, that's created a problem. So sometimes when the government puts their thumb on a scale in an industry, it actually makes it worse over time instead of just letting the free market prevail. So it created some problems, and those problems are into fruition today. In a lot of markets, there are just too many childcare spots, and there are not enough children to fill them. So everybody is struggling across the board when it comes to the centers, and that's why profitability is down. And also in the last couple of years, capital has been abundant. There's been a lot of money out there floating. Banks have been lending money to childcare to expand. Venture capital has been very generous into the childcare field, meaning that they saw all this government money coming in. Profits were great, so it was a good industry to get into. And that's why it created a lot of problems. You see a lot of franchises really expand over the last couple of years, and a lot of those franchises are in trouble now. You know, I've coached franchises, and they struggle too, because remember, franchises make half the profit of a non-franchise childcare because they have to give half their profits to the franchisor. You say, Brian, it's only 8 or 9%. Well, 8 or 9% of an 18% profit, you're giving half your profits to the franchisor. So if you're struggling on 100% of your profits as a for-profit non-franchise business, how are you going to make it on half the profits if a franchise? So they're struggling as well. And all this rapid expansion during the last 3 years in childcare has created this issue that we're in. So it was a perfect storm. They were here. Plus, some states expanded universal pre-K. I just had a call yesterday from a guy who lost 49 kids in a matter of 2 weeks because they all went to universal pre-K. Again, that's government coming in and taking away the profit part of our children, the 4-year-olds. So sometimes the law of good intention has a lot of bad intentions that come with it. And that's what happens sometimes. And we made plans based on a certain understanding that we get these 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and at 5 years old they go to school. That's kind of the understanding we started our business plan on. But sometimes the government changes that. And of course, some states they want 2-year-olds in the public school system, and that'll just decimate the childcare industry as well. So how do we fix this? As a childcare owner, and if you're one of those people struggling right now, trying to get profitability, trying to get where you were just a couple of years ago, and maybe you're struggling financially and don't know what to do. First of all, you really need to find some help. You need to be part of a team. Together, everybody achieves more. Find a mastermind group, find a coaching group, find somewhere where you can be around other childcare owners that are struggling, and all put your heads together. Because 1 + 1 = 3 when it comes to masterminding. Whereas by yourself, your own collective efforts, you're only getting 100% of one person. But when you get 2 people together and you start masterminding, you actually get the power of a third individual, almost invisible person in there. And it's the power of the mastermind. Childcare Genius University is one of those masterminds. We'd love to talk to you if you're struggling. Feel free to give us a shout. Just email me personally, brian@childcaregenius.com, BRIAN, and just tell me you're struggling. And I'll give you some areas where I can help you with. Next thing is just have that warrior mindset. Just know that you're going to be okay. Right now you might have to go to survival mode. Remember when COVID first happened? We all were so creative at trying to find ways to keep our school going. That the thinking cap went on, and we got creative juices flowing, and we jumped into groups and joined masterminds and went to conferences and found really cool things to do. Well, that's that kind of warrior mindset you got to have now. That I'm going to survive this no matter what. I'm going to tap into my reserves. I'm going to kick some butt, and I'm going to survive. I'm going to outlast the competitor down the road, because right now you might have to go into survival mode. And the survival mode is similar to this. If you and your friend are being, no, if you and your neighbor are being chased by a bear, you only have to outrun your neighbor. You don't have to outrun the bear, right? And I know that's kind of bad analogy, but that's what happens in childcare right now is you have to last longer than the center down the road. When their money runs out, you want their money to run out before yours runs out. Because once they close their doors, you get their kids and you get their staff. And it helps solve the problem by reducing inventory in the market. Yeah, it's kind of cold, but you know what? If you had a choice between you or them, you're going to pick you every time. So, I have to tell it like it is. And in survival mode, this is what happens. All right, marketing. This is an area where people mess up, and they mess up big time. What they do is say, okay, I'm struggling now financially, so let me cut back on my marketing. Um, and marketing is the one thing that gets the phone to ring. It's the one thing you don't cut back on when times get tough. You cancel that copy lease, and you don't need Netflix, and your Peacock goes and your Disney Plus is gone, but you don't cancel marketing. You double down on your marketing. You cancel other stuff and increase your ad spend on your marketing. You make sure your website is top notch. You make sure you're doing social media marketing. You make sure you're doing Google Ads marketing. Like, you want to make sure you have everything going. And I always say rule of thumb is you spend 2% of your revenue in marketing until you're full. So don't skimp here. Don't say I'm going to save a few dollars, because you're literally losing thousands by saving dollars, and you don't want to do that. We at Childcare Genius Marketing could obviously help you there. So go on our website. We have some information about if you don't do any marketing of any kind, you're going to need to, because your competitors are going to start marketing, and you need to be better, faster, stronger than they are. Another thing is you may want to look at repurposing classrooms. Look where your age groups are. If you have a wait list for 3-year-olds or your wait list for 2-year-olds in your building, you just don't have enough spots, but yet you have 4-year-old classrooms sitting empty. Repurpose, make that a 2-year-old room, make that a 3-year-old room. Don't be paradigmed into saying, I only have this many infants, this many toddlers, this many preschoolers, this many pre-Ks, and I'm never changing that model. You can't be that way. You have to go where the need is. We were talking to a client a couple weeks ago, and she had a long list of babies, a baby wait list long, but had not many toddler spots. So we had her change a converted toddler classroom into an infant classroom. Yeah, there's not that much profit, but guess what? The infants grow up. So those 4 this year are going to be, that'll be added another one to be 5 next year in the toddler room that she wouldn't have had she not done that. And there is some small profit in there. So sometimes you have to think outside the box when it comes to it. Another area is when things get tight, profits are low, you have to watch your staffing carefully. You can't overstaff. It's a lot easier for a multi-center person to not overstaff, because they can shift people around between locations. But if you're a solo center owner, you have it the hardest, where you just don't have that option. But you really have to watch overstaffing when it comes to that, because more than likely, if you drop 49 children, you probably drop 6 staff at the same time. Just make sure you don't be overstaffed in any way, shape, or form. You just can't afford it. Hold the line on your spending. It's not the time now to go out and get new playground equipment when things are tough. You have to really hold the line on spending, and watch every area where you have expenses, and make sure you renegotiate, you get things down, and you do that. Also, be flexible. Look where you have. If you say, "Oh, I only do full-time kids," no, you can't. You can't have that. You don't have that luxury anymore. You have to look at every children that comes in. Can I squeeze this 1 day a week kid in? Even if it's not a good fit for your program, as far as, you think it would disrupt it, what, it's about survival. You got to take what you can get at this point. No, I'm not saying taking a kid that's going to beat all the other kids up, because that you'd lose more children than not on that. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying is you got to look for be outside the box, fit your part, add part-time to your program if you've never added it before, and try to squeeze as many kids in there. It's all about the revenue. Make sure, be flexible. The economy is good. We're not in recession. We're not even close to coming in recession. So everything is strong right now. And I see an incredible outlook for 2026. Manufacturing is really going to be revived in this country, I see. So from an economic perspective, I see lots of jobs being created, providing that 5 million people that are currently sitting on their couch collecting government assistance, providing they get out and get a job. That'll help with the childcare realm as well. But I see a good economy coming in the next year. I see childcare being, in a really good spot, providing that the market corrects itself a little bit this year, like it's supposed to. We just don't want you to be the correction point. We want the guy down the road who's not a good center. They got a lot of licensing violations that don't deserve to be open. We want them to close so you can get their kids and get their staff. It's actually a really good time in some markets to expand. If you're doing fairly well in your market and you have some competitors that are struggling, it's a good time to buy them out. And I bought, during the recession in 2007, I bought 3 schools and took out 3 competitors during that time and helped me dominate a market, because you can get good deals when people are struggling. So if that's in your wheelhouse for expansion, it's really a good time. You definitely don't want to open a new center with new inventory. I would much rather see you buy an existing school where you get their existing staff and their existing children, and you could always add a few spots in there, especially if you have get capital, money laying around, or you have a good safety net. That would be good. So just keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of childcare closing in the next 12 months in a lot of different markets. And if you're in danger of that being you, we'd love to talk to you. We hope to help you get full. We have a lot of our clients, like 70% of our clients are more profitable right now than they were last year. So our clients at Childcare Genius University are weathering the storm very well. Over probably 2 or 3 times the rate better than the general public is, because they have a team of people that can help them. So if you'd like a free coaching call where we can help you where you're struggling, just go to our website. If you're a center owner now and your profits aren't what they used to be and you just want that full enrollment, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're doing well and you want to expand and you're looking for some help. Just go to our website at childcaregenius.com. Go to the coaching tab and just have like a free coaching call. And you get on there and you can get on one of my coaches' calendars and maybe discuss some of the options that can help you get through this struggle or to even thrive during this time. So I hope this helped today. I just wanted to come out in a podcast because I've seen the look on faces. I've seen people struggling, and I don't want that to be you. And I do have some help coming this way. I have a new book coming out. I'm going to be talking about it in a future podcast, but that book will help you as well. But I'm not going to tip my hand on that one. That'll be coming in a couple of weeks. So look for that podcast to be in a couple of weeks with the new release of that. So that more help for you coming down the road. But anyway, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to spend a little time with me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, maybe even do a review or podcast. We'd be generous. And we will be back next week with a new episode, and we will see you then. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.